the place. We're online.
Hi everyone out there. I am Spanangwabo, your sports guru. Catch me live every Saturday morning from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. Only on Nirvana Wild FM. Your beat, your music. Danko.
The views, opinions, or comments expressed on this program does not reflect the views, opinions, or comments of the radio station or its management.
Welcome. This is your favorite station.
Bafana is back. South Africa is back. Mzansi is back. Yes, that is the state of affairs as far as Bafana's 2026 FIFA World Cup is concerned. Yes, they live to see another day. Yes, they do have that realistic chance of making it to the next stages, which is the knockout stages that follows their 1-1 draw against the European side in the championship of Kia, the game that ended in a 1-1 stalemate. That was Thursday evening, 6 p.m. was the kickoff time in as far as South African Standard Time is concerned. Following that 1-1 draw, it was all about permutations. It was all about the ifs and the maybes. And oh boy, Mexico, they went on and beat who's this? Korea, but was it 1-0?
1-0, definitely.
But 1-0. What does that mean? That simply means one thing and one thing only. Good. Yes, Bafana's the chances they're still very much alive. All they have to do is to go out there and beat Korea come this Thursday or Friday morning.
Thursday morning, yes.
Thursday morning or Friday morning, South African time. Thursday morning.
Yes.
So meaning it's Wednesday night.
Yes.
Thursday
morning. Of the night, then it's Thursday
morning.
That's when the game
will
kick.
Thursday morning, South African Standard Time, 3 a.m. 3 a.m. is the kickoff time. That's when Bafana will lock horns with Korea. A must-win game for South Africa. They don't have any chance of going with the 0-0 draw. Whatever draw, they have to win at all cost. But before we get to the Bafana South Korea game, let's go back to Bafana South Africa versus Czechia game, the game that ended in a 1-1 draw. Motiba. First, let's start with, like they always say, it always helps to start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning. Let's look at Bafana's starting 11. Talk to us. What did you make of that starting 11?
Interesting one, because there were a few changes there, because the majority of the fans were complaining to say the coach has gone with so many defensive players, 8 defensive players in the game against Mexico, so he had to change because of we're in a must-win situation, and this time around he came with 3 holding midfielders. At least he reduced one of the defenders at the back, so which was a good sign to say at least we're going to attack. But then when the game started, I think we started on the back foot, conceding a goal, which what I've observed is that as South Africans, we are always slow starters, something we need to omit going into the next match. But at least we managed to show character, knock the ball around, rotate the ball so well, but then penetration here and there was just not enough. But hopefully they will fix that going into the next game. But in the end, we forced them to make an error. As South Africans, we forced them, the Czechia, to make an error, and this is where it resulted in a penalty. And the referee was hesitated and just gave a penalty, and then Teboho Mokoena, brave enough, and then he lost the penalty past the goalkeeper there. So for us to snatch that point, but I thought we could have won that game, because of there were moments where the likes of Evidence Makgopa almost scored. Relebohile Mofokeng coming in, I think he also gave us another dimension to say we need to attack further. So it was just good. Khuliso Mudau on the other side, he was just overlapping, so trying hard to get that second goal. But the defense, I think, stood firm. The Czech Republic defense, of which I've been saying that the team is very overrated, because of going into that match we were afraid of them going to pose a threat, to say they are good in corner kicks, set pieces, crosses, dead ball situations. Little did we know that they only play on tradition. They sit back and try and play on moments, of which it didn't work for them, because of, I can't remember Aaron Williams after the goal and that free kick that was taken, saving any ball from the very same Czech Republic. So of which I think it gives us an ample chance to say we need to do well, and they're also having a tough one against the host Mexico. So I think it's an interesting Thursday come next week.
Still with that Bafana Czechia game, let's look at the heart of Bafana, central midfield, defensive midfielders. Talk to us about our defense midfield, Teboho Mokoena, Adams and Mbata. The effectiveness of that combination, those 3 central midfielders. What did you make of their performance on the day, especially their combination? Does it work for Bafana, yes or no? And if not, what should be done?
Yeah, at some point it wasn't working because Talent Mbata wasn't in the game, and at the very same time, him and Teboho Mokoena were cautioned, and this is where Teboho Mokoena obviously is official. He won't be able to play against South Korea because of it's another yellow card that he got against Mexico. So adding to the two, that it puts him out of the match. Against South Korea, Talent Mbata wasn't in the game, and then at some point also cautioned as well. Jaden Adams, yes, he tried, but not enough. So for me, I think it's not working. I think we should go only with 666, not 666, because of what are you defending as well. This is where I was concerned to say we lacked creativity. So had they sacrificed one of them, which they did, Hugo Bruce bringing in Relemo Fuge. That's why we had some width and going forward and create those half chances. Although I was still a little bit concerned with some lack of penetration enough. So
Yes.
I think we could have gotten goal had we penetrated more.
You touched on a good point of Teboho Mokoena being suspended for Bafana's next game against Korea. The big question is, who is fit to take that invincible position of Teboho Mokoena? Do we have depth? Do we have someone to come in and do equally what Teboho Mokoena offers Bafana in that position?
It's an interesting one because of, if my memory serves me well, I think Pepelo Torres is coming back from suspension. So hopefully they might consider him because of the situation, because of
Will he give us what Teboho Mokoena gives us?
Definitely not. So and we can't afford to sit back and defend or be cautious. We just need to go out there. So I think we'll just have to start with Jaden Adams as well as Talent Mbata, and tell Talent Mbata to get more into the game because of he was just silent. He was just not having a good game, especially even the caution as well, and trying to argue with the referees. That was, for me, that was unlike him. But the two will help us going into that game. But let's wait and see because of. We need to attack more. I think the subs that came in the second half should start the match. Relemo Fuking as well included. So I'm not so sure about Osinapolis because of there were some also question marks from the fans to say he's not giving us anything going forward. So hopefully, if he can combine well with Relemo Fuking, I think we can get something. But so far, I can't complain much. For me, we just have to make sure that we get good goals because of this is the worrying factor for me to say Bafana are not scoring goals, and we just needed the football coach to help us with that penalty. But apart from that, we just can't score in an open play, and we don't need them going to play against a stubborn high tempo Korea, because I saw them there. They always press you hard. They always rotate the ball so well. They're also good at diagonal balls. I think some of the other aspects that we need to be aware of going to play them come next week, Thursday.
2 games, 0 goals in open play, except that a penalty that we scored from the set piece. You rightfully mentioned that come Korea will definitely need goals. Where will the goals come from, considering that our striking force, they seem to be shooting blanks? Our striking force, it looks like they left their scoring boots here in South Africa.
It's a tough one to ask, so we must just keep trying. Hopefully, maybe a goal will come, but I keep asking
where will it come from?
Because of even against
where will it come from? We cannot expect Imana or something.
Exactly. Against Czechia as well, I asked myself, where are we going to score? Yes, I can see they rotate the ball, but do you rotate it in the dangerous positions? No, says the answer, but let's keep trying. Maybe something will come up, or force them to make an error. Maybe who knows, we can get that penalty again. But in terms of scoring goals, it's a problem because of, I think it was a wrong decision also made by Hugo Bruce to say some of the strikers here at home were on form. That's all for some of us. So should have been given an opportunity to come and represent the country. But you know, the coach as well once stated that it doesn't fit well in his plans. So who knows? Let's wait and see what he's intending is Hugo Bruce.
You spoke about Bafana rotating the ball most of the game, and if I look at the stats, I believe the stats they read Bafana they took how many? 17 shots, but out of those 17 shots, only 4 of them were on target. Surely, that leaves a lot to be desired for a team that needs goal, that needs more of the attempts to be at the back of the net.
Yeah, true, because of I also saw that they were huffing and puffing, especially going forward. So, which is something they need to work on. Shooting accuracy will be very, very important because of I watched Korea. I can tell you now it's going to be a hell of a match because they are also 5th on the rankings. So they're not going to make it easy because of they realize that we are currently seated on 3 points. So even a draw for us will make us qualify, pending what will happen between us and the very same South Korea. But it's not going to be easy for me.
It is not going to be easy at all. It is going to be a tough one indeed in as far as the Bafana Bafana's campaign is concerned. In a must-win affair, a game against the Korea come Thursday morning. But it's not all over. Bafana Bafana, it's all in the mind. And it is doable indeed, especially if you look at the likes of your Morocco, which Bafana Bafana find it very easy to beat them in Morocco, taking the fight to big teams, about Brazil, playing through to a nil all stalemate. So surely Bafana Bafana, only if they can get their mindset in order and do not show respect to Korea, take the fight to them, surely it is a dream possible.
And we need that behavior like Morocco are doing. They've just beaten Scotland 1-0 earlier today. So we can tell that they've drawn Brazil, no one saw it coming. So I think for me, they've qualified already. So it's just a matter of finalizing the last match. So South Africa needs such kind of aggression, especially going forward, because I realized that the likes of Hakimi, the likes of Diaz, they're fighting for the badge of Morocco and also Africa at large. So we also need that as South Africans.
Still with the Bafana Bafana game, most of Bafana Bafana fans, they had been calling for Ikram Reyners to be given a chance. He started the game on Thursday. What did you make of his performance on the night?
For me, in the last 2 games I watched him, he's been quiet, so I don't know why, because this is a player we also attacked Hugo Broos to say, why did you invite the player for a collab? Because of his doing well locally, 15 goals ahead of, behind, is it Lucas Ribeiro Costa, the former striker of Mamelodi Sundowns?
Yes.
The following season he scored 12 goals, 2 goals behind Junior Dion of Lamontville Golden. Also, we expected a lot from him. So, but I don't know, maybe it's the atmosphere from international level and the atmosphere at locally is not the same. So I wasn't pleased with his performance up to so far.
Looking at the striking force, seeing that they are not finding at the back of the net, like you rightfully mentioned, you looked at Ikram Reyners' personal stats here domestically. Don't you think it has got everything to do with the supply? The supply, maybe it's not forthcoming, because I believe the striker is good as the supply, the creativity, the assist that he gets from his midfielders, especially the attacking midfielders.
Very true. And you check, I'll give a typical example of Themba Zwane. So we expected that particular supply you've just mentioned, but unfortunately the player got in matching orders. And speaking of Themba Zwane as well, his suspension has been added to 2 more suspensions, which means he'll be out for 3 matches. So then that dented Hugo Broos' chances of playing well. I don't know why was the player started. Why did the player not start the match against Mexico? Why was he on the bench? I don't know. Hugo Broos has got the answer for that, because we were so defensive in that game. And then also you check as well, why did he start the game on the bench? Fortunately, I think he came in, he gave us that width. And then you check also another player who impressed me, Thapelo Maseko. I think he had a good game. At some point,
what a performance.
I criticized him in the first half, but as the game progresses, they started getting more into the game. This is a player who gave us that particular penalty as well. So for me, I think we've got options, but I think the absence of Themba Zwane also is affecting him. Also leaving Patrick Masanganye, for me, there's also another question mark to say, maybe the player would have played at that.
But it's not there now. We have to work with what is there now.
At our disposal. So which for me is a tricky situation to say, will the supply be there? I don't think so.
Still with the supply, still with the Themba Zwane matter, that Themba Zwane is likely to be not available. So what does that mean? It simply means we are left with only one creative player in as far as central with number 10 is concerned. You ask the question that you don't understand, why was Rebokhile Mofokeng kept on the bench actually the whole 90 minutes against Mexico. Yes, against Kenya he came in at halftime. Considering the magnitude and what's required in the upcoming match against Kenya, where does this put Rebokhile Mofokeng in as far as the starting lineup is concerned?
He should definitely start. We're in a must-win situation. We need those good passes. He will just give us that. Just at some point, players were offside whenever it's trying to dish out low defense splitting passes. Khuliso Mudau is also one of them. So for me, I think he needs to start the match. I don't know also what's happening with Tepa Moremi. The player hasn't been selected.
Yes.
So which for me is poses question marks, because of we need to play with pace, because of Koreans are very pacey.
Talking of Korean encounter against the Bafana, that takes me to your dream starting 11, and also considering that you also rightfully mentioned that it should be an all attack affair. It should all be about goals. What will be your dream starting 11 that you think can deliver the assignment on the day?
Okay, Ronan Williams as well, still in goals.
Yes.
And then at right back, we've got Kuliso Mutau, left back, Opre Mutiba. In the middle, central 4-5, there's still Emile Ocon as well as Mpekazeli Mpokazi. Mpekazeli Mpokazi has been impressive for me.
Yes.
And then you also check in the middle of the pack, I'll go with Talent Mbata and Jaden Adams. And then looking to Lemufu Kenyi. And on the other flank, I'll try Tapelo Maseko on the left. And then bring in Tapa Muremi. And then let's see up front, Evidence Mahopa as well. Yeah, I think for me that will do.
Can you repeat your midfield again? Okay, I'm fine with the back four and the goalkeeper. Midfield?
Talent Mbata,
Yes.
Jaden Adams.
Yes.
Then Lemufu Kenyi.
Behind
Behind
okay.
the striker.
Behind the strikers,
And then
yes.
on the side is Tapelo Maseko as well as Oswin Apolis. But for now, I'll sacrifice him for Tapelo Morena because of
Whom to sacrifice?
Oswin Apolis for.
Sepang Moreng.
Not, I wanted to say Tsepang Moremi, not Tapelo Morena. Tsepang Moremi. Then then as the game progresses in the second half, I'll try to introduce him because I wasn't pleased with his
Introduce
performance. Oswin Apolis.
And then your number 9?
Number 9, I'll go with the Evidence Mahopa just to change a bit because Ikram Renas had a quiet game.
Oh, yes, there you have it. Yes, Lyle Foster got his chance in the first game together with Ikram Reyners. It didn't bear any fruit. 0 goals on the scoreboard. Ikram Reyners got his second chance against Chechia. Still 0 goal. This time you had Moteba Peter opting to go with the one assist. That is Mahopa, and hope that maybe, just maybe, Hugo Bruce is listening, and maybe then start with the Aubrey Mahopa. Talking of Aubrey Evidence Mahopa. Surely, maybe I think your selection is justifiable, especially looking at the moment he came in. He did take a couple of shots, and he made his midfield to play more the way he held the ball. And he
almost scored. Just the goalkeeper made a brilliant save, the Czechia goalkeeper there. Otherwise, I think we need that kind of bulldozing towards the Czechia defense because of they were under a heap of pressure sitting back. For me, which they didn't offer, they offered nothing in that game despite scoring that goal.
Oh, yes, we also saw the former Bafana legend, that is Dr. Kumalo, saying that it was for the first time that he saw Bafana keeping the European team on its back foot for almost the entire game. So the way Bafana dominated the proceedings, rotated the ball around, but the scoreboard unfortunately reads otherwise. And we don't need that going into the game on Thursday because of Czechia. Once they score, then they'll put us under pressure. And one thing I picked up, and I've said it here on the show, that as Bafana, whenever they score first, they either draw a game or win a game, and they only score 1 goal per match. But you check when they concede first, it's a problem because we're always chasing, and sometimes we don't. In fact, we don't win the games ever since Hugo Bros took over, which is a huge problem. When we are chasing, when we are chasing a game, you look at the game also against Panama, the game, the one that we lost 2-1. We're chasing the game. We came and equalized. They came back. So, and in terms of aerial, should I say dead ball situations, we always suspect, which is something he needs to work on because of I saw how this Korean side, they're playing balls inside the box, and we don't need such poor defending. Your parting shot as far as the next game is concerned, any realistic chances for Bafana to beat Korea and in so doing do themselves a favor and qualify for the knockout stages? I think even if we can play a draw, we stand a chance. I still think Mexico will suppress Czechia in the last game. So I don't think Mexico will try to drop the tempo because of they know very well that they are the host. The least that they can get Mexico will be a draw. But I think they will win that game. Even if we draw that game, as you know, some of the number 3s, they'll still make it. They'll still make it. So I'm seeing the situation going to be that way, to say we're going to draw, and then Mexico will beat Czechia, and then we progress. Oh yes, so let's hope the fortunes will work in Bafana's favor. But for that position, there will be a lot of things that they will look at. They'll look at the goal difference, the goal difference, and also the discipline issue, of which I think we might be found wanting, considering
yeah.
that first game we got 2 red cards, and in the second game we also got, I don't know how many, Tebogo Mokoena and Mbata, I'm sure they were booked. So
Modiba
as well. So 3 yellow cards. So in as far as the third position is concerned, we might be found wanting under discipline, because those are 2 red cards. Surely they will not do us any good. So it is simple for Bafana Bafana.
Just
go
to
out
win.
there, beat Korea, get into the knockout stages, and of which it's going to be the first time that Bafana Bafana make it to the knockout stages, should they do so.
Definitely, even if it's a solitary goal to nil, we can progress. I'm certainly sure Mexico will not want to lose, because of if they get to lose that game,
the momentum,
it will
to
ruin
break
the
the
momentum,
momentum, yes.
and then as well going to the knockout stage, they might even get an early power out, so which they don't need as the host. And pressure will be also on the coach, because of when I try to compare the two sides, Mexico as well as Czech Republic, they always play somewhere similar, because yes, just Mexico, the ball rotation is good, few penetrations here and there, but with Czech Republic, no. So I think Mexico will beat Czech Republic, and then for us, yes, I know the game, I predicted a draw against Korea, but I still think if we can just win that game, even if it's 1-0, then we will go through.
Still with the World Cup, I don't know whether you do have other results of other countries of the games that just played in the past 1 or 2 days or so.
I'll start with Thursday. I saw Ghana winning 1-0 against Panama. The same Panama
that beat us.
With that beat us in that friendly match and drawn us as well. So there's Uzbekistan losing 3-1 against Colombia. There's Czech the one that just mentioned, the Czech Republic 1-0 South Africa. Switzerland thrashing Bosnia Herzegovina 4-1. Canada winning 6-0 against Qatar.
What?
6-0 Canada.
Canada is not even a footballing country, a football playing country, winning 6-0.
But I was shocked with Qatar. How do you lose like that? Half a dozen scoreline, which means they stand a chance of progressing with a better goal difference.
Oh, half a dozen.
Imagine. USA winning 2-0 against Australia, Scotland losing 1-0 against Morocco. Morocco has been doing well there.
Flying the African flag
very high. So I don't know, you still remember the issue of them with the Senegal about the AFCON.
Yes.
I don't know what's the progress as far as...
Yeah, it's sitting at the court. That posting might take about 4 to 6 months or so.
Okay,
yes.
So let's wait and see, because maybe... hopefully the champions will be confirmed later on. Brazil winning 3-0 against Haiti, their first win following that draw against Morocco, and then Turkey losing 1-0 against Paraguay, and then there are more fixtures taking place tonight. Netherlands up against Sweden at 7 o'clock, and later on at 9 o'clock is Germany against Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast trying to...
that's
it's a crack of a game to look forward to.
Germany versus Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast, yes. And
that's
Ivory Coast,
a cracker.
I think they've drawn their first match as well. In fact, they've lost their first match.
Oh, Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast, yes.
I think they won. I think they won.
Oh, it's Senegal.
Yes, Ivory Coast won 1-0. I can't remember whom they beat, but they won 1-0.
Should be Belgium if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, and there's also Ecuador tomorrow up against Curacao in the morning, I should say, at 2 a.m. Then Tunisia.
They beat Ecuador.
Yes. Tunisia as well. Hosting Japan. I don't know if Tunisia will do well because they've lost their first match as well.
And fired the coach in the process.
They just brought in the former Ivory Coast who won the very same AFCON.
Yeah, he won it 2 times. Yeah, he won it 2 times.
2 times,
with
yes.
Ivory Coast, with Zambia as well. Yes.
As well, yes.
So it's
I still remember
Coast,
the likes of the Davis and Kausu.
That was 2012, if I'm not
2012,
mistaken.
Yes, quite true. Then Belgium will play Iran. And then on Monday, we've got New Zealand up against Egypt at 3 a.m. in the morning. Argentina versus Austria. And then France up against Iraq. And Norway will play Senegal. And then Jordan up against Algeria. There are some bit of complaints from the fans to say, this time slots are very, very disrupting, because somewhere we have to sleep at night, we have to wake up, we have to go to work, we can't watch those games. So I think that's been the main downfall. But apart from that, World Cup at the same USA has been superb so far.
I'd like to differ. Modiba, you said it's been superb, especially when it comes to USA. Why do I say that? Because I feel like USA, they are failing to separate between football and politics. Why do I say that? We know in politics, USA, they're at war with Iran. all the teams are allowed, they need at least about 48 hours to acclimatize, get into the soccer field and train at least a day before. But just because USA is at war with Iran, guess what USA has said to Iran? They said they will not allow Iran to get into USA anything for more than 24 hours. They said they will only allow them within 24 hours to the game. So what does that mean? That simply means there is no preparation for Iraq. There is no chance for acclimatization. That is completely unfair because all the teams are allowed Aboma 48, even as far as much as Aboma 72 hours. But Iran, just because they are at war with America, now they bring this to football. And FIFA is keeping quiet about it. If you ask me, I would say FIFA is spineless, if I may put it that way, because FIFA, they were supposed to, I strongly believe that FIFA, they were supposed to put their foot down and say, do not combine politics with football. This is football. It should be the fair game. All the countries should be treated equally, but it is not happening in as far as Iran are concerned. They are given the raw deal. So, and the news that we had this morning is that Iran, they are taking FIFA to court for allowing that, because it's a completely unfair play because that simply means Iran, they will not acclimatize. They will not get access to the soccer field to train on that soccer field for their technical approach. So it's completely unfair to Iran. So let's hope Infantino, the whole FIFA executive, they will come to the party and intervene, because by the look of things, it looks like Iran are a little bit giving some kind of a raw deal in as far as this 2026 FIFA World Cup is a concern, especially when it comes to the games that they play out in America. So we'll be following that court proceedings, because I can officially confirm that Iran, they're not taking this lying down. They are taking FIFA to court for allowing America to do that, dish out that unfair treatment to them.
It's so surprising, because what happens to FIFA fair play?
No, fair play, but not for Iran.
For Iran, something else. It reminded me of cricket, India, and is it Pakistan?
Where,
whenever one is hosting, it has to play at a neutral venue.
You have to play in Saudi Arabia, because of the political tensions between Pakistan and India. Yeah, no, it is what it is, unfortunately. So we'll be watching that matter as it pan out, that how does that court case eventually pan out between Iran and FIFA for allowing America to bully or bulldoze the country of Iran as far as FIFA World Cup preparations are concerned. Morning and welcome on this beautiful Saturday morning, the 20th of June 2026. Yes, so you are still tuning in to Sports Kick with Spanel Ngobo here on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music, co-piloting it with none other than my usual suspect in the form and shape of Modiba Beat. We do this every Saturday morning between 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. Not that I'm complaining, I just love the sound of it. Hoping the feeling is mutual. Thank you very much to my colleague, that is Louis Govender, who brought us breakfast around the globe. He does this every Saturday morning between 8 and 10 o'clock. Oh boy, Louis Govender, surely you know exactly what to do every Saturday morning. His playlist is out of this world. With Louis Govender behind the microphone, you can always be rest assured that your mornings, they will always be heated up, and they will never be the same with Louis Govender behind the microphone. Yes, I know. You might be asking, what about between 10 and 11 o'clock? DJ Poen, oh, the studies are showing him flames. He's stuck with his studies. So let's hope come end of the year, those studies, he will show us, he will prove it to us that all the sacrifice that he made will be worth it. So we'll be expecting a numerous A's in those subjects. Anything less than a B, we will not accept it, because surely there's no way that he can sacrifice and starve us so much music, starve us his great show for Mahala. So there must be great rewards come end of the year. So we demand those A's in as far as those subjects are concerned. There is a DJ Poen who's very tied up of late with his matric studies. All the best of luck to DJ Poen. Let's hope you will ace those subjects, and which will be enough to get you that bachelor thing and get to the tertiary institution of your choice. Oh yes, in the first segment, we've already looked at the 2026 FIFA World Cup that is currently co-hosted by America, Mexico, so as Canada. Talking of Canada, you heard Modiba Peter saying that Canada, all of a sudden, they ran a riot against Qatar and thrashed them, demolished them, humiliated them by half a dozen. How does 6-0 sound to you? Ring 6-0. Oh, yes. That shows exactly how much of an influence does the 12th player does to the team, the fans, because surely for Canada to go on and score so many goals, they were inspired by their fans, which is the 12th player. Job well done indeed to one of the co-hosts, that is Canada, to show up and put on such a great performance indeed on the day. On our today's show, we'll definitely look at what's happening in as far as the women's T20 cricket is concerned, which is currently co-hosted by England and Wales Cricket Board, and South Africa. They are definitely represented as well in the 2026 Women's T20 Cricket World Cup. We remember that in the previous edition, South Africa, they were lost in the final against New Zealand. Let's hope this time around they will definitely get over the line and bring the trophy home. That's how things are standing as far as cricket is concerned. In rugby, we'll look at what went down out in Ireland last night when the Blue Bulls from South Africa in Pretoria, they locked horns with the home side Leinster from Ireland. Modiba will tell us exactly what went down this in as far as URC a grand finale is concerned. And don't forget that the mighty Springboks
Springboks, yes, this afternoon they're getting their season underway, which is going to be with us till the end of November. So if you are a rugby fan, I'm sure I can feel your excitement, or finally the Springbok season is back. So it is going to be tension, it is going to be excitement all around. Talk of Springboks season, don't forget there is another big game that's coming up as far as the Springboks are concerned. They will play where? Just take a wild guess. Deep in Soweto, FNB Stadium. That's where Springboks will play one of their games against their traditional old foes in the form and shape of New Zealand, the mighty All Blacks. Yes, Springboks are coming to play their big game in Soweto, go FNB Stadium. After rugby, we'll also look at what went down as far as the Telkom Netball League 2026 grand finale is concerned, which was Power Week 3. What a final we had, a thriller of a game indeed. We'll zoom into that. We'll tell you exactly who are the 2026 champions of the Telkom Netball League. And then as we wrap things up, we'll look at what's happening as far as Formula One motor racing is concerned. Motebo will tell you exactly what, guess who has finally got into winning ways in as far as Formula One is concerned. I can give you an idea. The whole last year he joined the new team. He did not win even one race last season, and the beginning of this year, for the past games, he has not won anything. Finally, in Spain last weekend, eventually he won something. Moteba will tell you exactly who that driver is. Talking from Moteba, good morning and a warm welcome yet again. You were sorely missed last weekend.
Indeed, yeah, I had the technical glitch was a little bit disrupting. So on that note, let me greet you and our lovely viewers as well, and Poland behind the scenes as well. So yeah, look ahead to wonderful menu that Spo has just laid out. So a lot to dissect and a lot to look out this wonderful weekend. Hold that remote. We've got options as far as different sporting codes is concerned. So this is a Sports Geek, and yeah, stay tuned.
Oh yes, let's quickly go for a breather. When we return, we'll be talking cricket, especially the Women's T20 Cricket World Cup that is held out in Europe, England and Wales to be exact.
You're listening.
Thank you very much to Chris Walker, who gave us that song, Someone to Love Me Forever. Not I'm a piece job, nyana. Someone to love me just for, if it's bonus time or opportunity. If it's bonus time, but it's towards December, chiki, someone wants to love you. Or something, if you know, hey, maybe my road accident fund is about to pay out or something. Chiki, you show interest. No. Nobody wants that. We don't want those opportunistic love that is offered depending on the situation at that time. That's Chris Walker, who said he wants someone to love him forever. And you're still tuning in to Sports Geek with Spanalo Ngoba. You're on Nirvana World FM, your beat, your music, co-piloting it with my usual suspect in the form and shape of Modiba Peter. You can always get in touch with us on our studio WhatsApp line number, which is 062-8577-442. Our studio WhatsApp line number again is 062-8577-442. For advertising and marketing, don't forget that Shashi Singh is your go-to lady on 083-945-766. For advertising and marketing here on Nirvana World FM, Shashi Singh is your go-to lady on 083-945-766 form. Let's dive straight now to a women's T20 cricket World Cup that is taking the center stage out in Europe, England and Wales to be exact, and South Africa. They do have the representation there in the form and shape of Proteas women side led by Captain Fantastic. That is Laura Volfart for you, Madiba.
Very true. And if you check this wonderful T20 World Cup, kick-started on the 12th of this particular June, and it will end on the 5th of July. To the viewers out there who are interested in watching matches further, because there's plenty of fixtures upcoming as well, and this weekend as well, I'll just give them in shortly. And on that note, we even had a first match, a tough assignment against Australia. So
it was always going to be tough.
That's always going to be tough. We all know, considering that Australia's always been a hoodoo team, but on the day we didn't pitch up, and this is where I saw the number of runs that Australia have won. 65 runs after having posted 172 for 8 after 20 overs. It was a time to bet on our side. 107 after 16.4 overs, which it wasn't enough. I think on the day we did not pitch up. And then we also had a game against Pakistan there on Wednesday, where also this time around we managed to get back to winning ways as we posted 127. I think it was after Pakistan managed to bat first, having posted 126 for 9 after 20 overs. It was our turn, 127 for 8 after 16.5 overs. And on that note, we managed to win by 2 wickets despite 19 balls that were remaining, so which is at least 2 points in the bag. But we're still going to play tough matches as well, the likes of India as well. I'll come to the fixtures shortly. With the other results, India managed to host Netherlands, and on that note, India emerged victorious on 95 runs after having posted 209 for 5 after 20 overs, and it was Netherlands 10 and 114 runs. Those were the number of runs they managed to post, which for me I can question the level of cricket in that country, Netherlands. It's not like Australia and India.
Yeah, no.
So it's a little bit down. So India, on that note, deserves to win. And there's also Bangladesh against Australia, or Bangladesh as well, managed to post 177 runs, only 77 runs, having lost 8 wickets after 20 overs. It was the 10 for Australia, and Australia managed to post 78 runs after having lost only 1 wicket and in 19.3 overs. So that's made them winners on 9 wickets. That is Australians winning this particular match. So I was a little bit disappointed with in the game against Pakistan, especially Laura Volvat. She didn't come to the picture where she only managed 8 runs. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, that was uncharacteristic of her.
And
yes.
what I also saw is that she was playing her 100th cap. So I expected a lot from her, because of this is a player who's always been scoring those centuries more than 100 runs, so I expected better performance. Hopefully she will redeem herself, but it's not going to be easy because of we will be in action against India. So speaking of India, let me confirm the fixtures that are taking place this wonderful weekend. Right now at 11:30, Australia are battling it out with Netherlands.
Oh,
11:30.
that's a walkover for Australia.
Seems like that. And then Pakistan will welcome Bangladesh later on in the afternoon, 3:30 kickoff. And then later on at 7:30, it is England up against Scotland. And tomorrow, West Indies will play Sri Lanka at 11:30. And later on at 3:30, it is South Africa up against India. I think it's the final before final tomorrow, 3:30. So
tomorrow,
the
3:30.
repeat of last season. By the way, New Zealand also the defending champions, if one still remembers that, in 2024, having won against us South Africans. I think this is an opportunity for us also to redeem ourselves and make sure that we go to the final again. But let's wait and see, because I'm looking at we've got two groups here, Spo. With us, we're battling with the likes of India, Australia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, as well as Netherlands. And currently, India are top of the standings. I think they've got a better net running rate. And then with 4 points level with Australia at number 2. Us South Africans still at number 3. I think we still have that ample chance. It's still early days, but there's still more, 3 more matches to play. So there's also Bangladesh at 2 points with South Africa level at number 4. Pakistan at number 5 with no points, as well as Netherlands, so with no points. In Group 2, we've got England at number 1 with 4 points, West Indies at number 2 with 4 points, Scotland at number 3 with 2 points, New Zealand at number 4 with 2 points as well, Sri Lanka at number 5 with 2 points, and lastly we've got Ireland with no points as yet. So more matches to play, but let's see if they will be able to pocket their points, because points are very crucial for them to take them to the Super 8 and later on to the semi-finals. So good luck to South Africa, Mandla Mashimbi, and all the players as well. Laura Folvat, I expect a lot better from you coming into the next matches as well.
Oh yes, it is going to be a tough one indeed as far as South Africa is concerned, as they lock horns with their traditional old foes in the form and shape of India come tomorrow. I believe the first ball is scheduled to be bowled at 3:30 p.m. in South African Standard Time. It is the big one indeed, like Motiba rightfully mentioned, that it is more like of a final before the final. That's what happens all the time when South Africa lock horns with the India in cricket. It's a question of you blink. You blink, you miss, I strike. It is always very, very tough indeed when those two countries lock horns in as far as cricket is concerned. Whether it is the male category or women's category, it is always tough. You put India and South Africa on the cricket pitch, you can be rest assured that definitely sparks will fly, and that clash, it never disappoints. But unfortunately, it's always guaranteed that there will always be tears come end of that match, because it is some kind of rivalry. So none of the teams take the lose with a good heart.
And remember, they've got this other player, Shama Verma. What a player for India.
Yes.
But on the other side, I think we've got cream of players. Shinalo Jafta comes to mind, and Daxon, Ayabonga Kaka, Masabata Class. Those are, I'm relying on them to get those wickets and also the runs. John and Daxon as well comes to mind. Laura Falvat with those kind of runs, because she did well in the first match. So good luck to them as well. But it's not going to be easy. I think we'll bring the results come next weekend, and let's see if they'll be able to qualify for the Super 8, our very own Proteas.
Oh yes, it is going to be a tough indeed. But the first hurdle for South Africa is to beat India come tomorrow 3:30 South African Standard Time. It is not going to be easy at all. I can tell you that free of charge. It is going to be a tough encounter indeed. There is never an easy game between South Africa and India. So tomorrow it will definitely be no exception. Let's hope for the girls that they will rise to the occasion and eventually get over the line and go all the way to the finals, and this time around bring it home where it belongs. Yes, it is not going to be easy at all, considering that England, they are playing at home, and you still have to beat your Australia, you still have to beat your New Zealand. Yes, at least you had beaten Pakistan on Thursday this week. So Pakistan, take a chill pill, just go and relax. We'll see you later on. But beating Australia, India, and England at home, it is always going to be a tough ask in it. But let's hope the girls, they will be up to the task. Let's quickly go for a breather. When we return, we'll be talking rugby. And I'm not sure if you happen to be a Vodacom Blue Bulls
Eish.
fan. What advice should I give you? Should I say stick around? Should I say put some earplugs in your ears,
Yes, you don't
or
wanna hear this,
go and make
you-
some coffee, have some snacks, and then come back after 5 minutes? I don't know. I honestly do not know what advice should I give you if you happen to be a Blue Bulls fan out there. But either way, just after this breather, we'll be bringing you rugby. We'll be bringing you Vodacom United Rugby Championship grand finale results of the match that took the center stage last night out in Ireland, where Blue Bulls, they were on the road to lock horns with the Irish side in the foremanship of Leinster. Wayikutwa taba injalo lento losomnetso hala. Yo, I was trying to play some audio, some sound bites here. For some reason, it is not playing. I don't know what could be the problem, because I thought I've got all my ducks in a row. But there's a sound bite that I wanted to play. It is about Bafana, but it is not playing for some reason. I don't know what could be the problem. No, I seem to be not winning. I'll try and get our technical team, if they can assist, and try and see if I can play this sound bite. You are still tuning in to Sports Geek with Spanal Ngoba here on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music, and we do this every Saturday morning. That is between 11 o'clock till 1 p.m. Every Saturday. We are together doing this. Without any further ado, let's dive straight to rugby. The Vodacom United Rugby Championship eventually came to an end last night. It was the grand finale. The South African side, Vodacom Blue Bulls from Pretoria, they visited their Irish counterparts in the former shape of Leinster. That game took center stage out in Ireland last night. It was South Africa versus Ireland. Vodacom Blue Bulls versus Leinster in the grand finale. Modiba, talk to us what went down.
It was a much anticipated action that we were expecting, and looking at the Vodacom Bulls, we expected them to better, because this is a team that has been losing back-to-back finals. So you check on the other side, Leinster were the defending champions, to say we were looking for the 10th title as we've been winning this United Rugby Championship. But guess what? On the day, if you go back to the match, you realize that I think Vodacom Bulls made a blunder where one of their players, Kenan Moody, was red carded. You don't should I say a yellow carded? You don't expect a player of his caliber to be
It is the second minute.
Then later on, they were down to 14 men, and then Leinster capitalized from that shortage, and then make sure that they score as many tries as possible, 5 tries. And also, let's not forget, already they were leading by 22-0. As the game progressed, I also saw them leading 29-0, and it was so surprising. And to say, Kenan Moody, yes, he might have been the villain of that action, but later on scored a try, but it wasn't enough, as they lost by 36 points to 7. And you give credit to the likes of your Sam Pendergrast of the same Leinster. So looking into the situation as well, you find that they've been excellent for me. And looking at the situation as well, you find yourself that Johan Ackerman, what was he really preparing?
Bafana.
So, but all in all, let's wait and see come next season, because of that marks the conclusion of the 2026 United Rugby Championship. But on the day, we expected better from the Vodacom Bulls, especially because of you've got your Andre Pollard, your Ketley Arendse, who are from the international Springbok experience. You don't expect them to struggle on the night. They were just having the backs against the wall, something that I never expected. So with Leinster as well, the big match temperament worked for them, as they were pressing the right buttons from the onset on the standings until the final match. And at some point, we all expected Thomas to win the league title. We expected also Glasgow Warriors to win the league title, but on the day, they fell short during the knockout stages.
Vodacom Blue Bulls, they have now reached 4 finals in as far as the Vodacom United Rugby Championship is concerned. And guess what? They lost all 4 of them. Is this a curse? Are they choking? Kisinyama, Bahloka Mangonde, or whatever it is? What is it with this Vodacom team, Vodacom Blue Bulls team, reaching 4 finals and losing all 4 of them?
I think maybe just to do with the nerves, anxiety, and not being able to approach finals where it matters most, because of it's been the case. I still remember where they were playing the Lions at the early. Is it the Lions or Leinster, where they conceded in the time minutes, the penalty there, and they lost the final. So there are so many things that are not right with the Vodacom Bulls players, and you don't expect that because of your value with that experience. You should expect them to do better.
Oh yeah, so you definitely expect Vodacom Blue Bulls to do better. Like Motiba also mentioned that there is a whole lot of Springboks players in that Vodacom Blue Bulls team. So for them to go and choke losing getting to 4 finals and losing all 4 of them. Surely that is unheard of, because we remember that way back in 2022, Vodacom Blue Bulls, they lost against the Cape Town franchise, that is DHL Stormers. In 2024, they lost to, I believe they played at home, they lost to Glasgow Warriors in their own backyard in Pretoria. They lost to Glasgow Warriors from Scotland. And then in last season, it was the 2025, they were on the road to Irish side in the championship of Leinster. Blue Bulls lost. It was the 3rd final that they lost. It was last season against Leinster. Fast forward to this season, same state of affairs. They were on the road again to the very same team that they lost to last season, Leinster. Yet again, they lost. So now on record, you can either look at it and say Vodacom Blue Bulls, they have now lost 3 consecutive finals, or you can go on and say Vodacom Blue Bulls, they have lost in total 4. They've reached 4 finals and lost all 4 of them. So surely Blue Bulls are busy rewriting rugby books, history books, but unfortunately for the wrong reasons.
Hey, for the wrong reasons. You just mentioned Glasgow Warriors, the one that they lost in the final, and
at home. They were playing at home
so
that time.
After beating them in the semi-finals, I expected them to say, "Oh, I think they'll win this United Rugby Championship." After knocking out, just say sweet revenge for me when I looked at this.
Everyone was expecting a sweet revenge for the belly.
Yeah, even against Leinster, because of Leinster knocked them last season as well in the final. So I expected them to do better, but on the day they fell short. They just did not pitch up. I don't know if it's the occasion was too high for them, because it was packed to the rafters at the Crook Park in.
But they've got experienced players. The Springboks, about Kenan Mood, about Henry
Paula
Ketley Arends, Vili Leroux, they are all there.
Quality. I don't know why, because of those players have got experience, and
Marco van Staden is in that team.
They've conquered the world. Why is it for them to struggle like that? So they need to look themselves on the mirror. All those players from the Vodacom Bulls. So it's not looking good. Look at how Nista, like, they were just a comprehensive win for me when I watched the situation. At some point, around the 62nd minute, already they were leading 29-0. I'm like, already they won this match in the first half. So what was happening with such errors, those yellow cards, because that game was full of cautions as well. So for me, it really was a final, but Vodacom Bulls should have done better.
It was definitely a one-sided affair. There was only one team on the night, the home team, that is Leinster. Vodacom Blue Bulls, they did not come to the party. I don't know. They got stuck somewhere on their way to Ireland. They did not bring their side. Maybe they were still loitering around here Pretoria, because surely what went down last night, like I said, it was only one team and one team only. The defending champions and the current champions, that is Leinster. By the way, they are also in their technical team. They do have some South African in their technical team, in the foremanship of Jacques Nineba, who is the former Springboks coach himself in the previous World Cup. So surely, if you are a Blue Bulls fan, you are definitely licking your wounds this morning, not knowing exactly what more should the Bulls do to eventually win the cup. You can't get to 4 finals and lose all of them, of which 3 of them are back to back.
And it's surprising because the very same Leinster we just mentioned, they also were involved in the Investor Cup final against Union Patriarchs Packers. But guess what? They managed to lose that final, but they never looked back. At least they managed to salvage.
Yeah, they showed an element of resilience. They bounced back,
but
yes.
Vodacom Bulls should have done that, but it keeps not happening with them. So I don't know. I think for me, I'm sure the much that's been disappointed is the head coach.
Oh yes, it is disappointing indeed. Let's hope the Vodacom Blue Bulls, they will pick themselves up and maybe come back next season. And but by the look of things, their confidence is dented big time this time around. Maybe for them to get back to winning ways, they will definitely need some psychiatric assistance, some mental support. That I think that's what they need now, because surely, and the worst part, the way they lost, that's the worst part. The way he humiliated that scoreboard is. It shows that it was a one-sided affair. So surely, Blue Bulls, I don't know what you were doing last night, or or what you didn't do. Actually, it's not about what they did. It's about what they didn't do on the night, of which one of them was not to play. Second one was not to bring the trophy back to South Africa. Now we're moving away from franchise rugby to international rugby. Yes, it is officially, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you are a Springboks fan, you must be excited. The Springboks season gets underway this weekend, this afternoon, down in Port Elizabeth. Epa Mambozana, Elmbato Abalaziyo, Echo Indo Mfondini, Bashonjalo Lapa, yeah, in those townships of Port Elizabeth. Ezwide, Lapan, it's one of the townships that you'll find around Port Elizabeth. But to be politically correct, it is not called Port Elizabeth these days. It is called Gqeberha. Yes, that's what it is called of late. That's where the mighty Springboks they get their 2026 campaign underway as they lock horns with the Barbarians tonight, this afternoon, this evening rather.
Very true, and you check. I think it's at 3 o'clock, the kickoff of the match.
This afternoon, yes.
Yes, the fans will win to watch, but I think the people of Gqeberha, at least they'll experience wonderful double header, because there's a game that is underway at 12 o'clock. The Springboks A against the Zimbabwean A. So, and I saw the likes of, remember, you mentioned them on the show, the Chituka brothers.
Chituka brothers, yes.
A game, they're also starting the game. I'm like, hopefully they'll
in Zimbabwe, they play rugby.
It's not popular at all. And guess what? Who will be coaching that game? Mzandile Stick, the assistant coach too.
Will be coaching whom?
There's Springboks A
against
Zimbabwe A.
Okay.
Mzandile Stick will be coaching that game, and then the main one, it will be our very own Rasi Erasmus as usual. So hopefully he will do well. It's Mzandile Stick. So on the other side, while I was doing the preparations, I checked if we have ever done well against Barbarians. It's a tight affair because of the.
We thrashed them last year.
Yeah, we thrashed them heavily, but in terms of the head-to-head, we've all won 4 matches apiece. I was like, and one.
So this afternoon we'll make it 5-4.
So hopefully we'll make 5-4 because I've seen some new faces as well. I see a replacement for Andre Pollard at number 10. Siyakolis is there as well in the starting 15. Apelele Fasi at the back. I think it's a well-balanced squad. What I like about Coach Rasi Erasmus, I should say, he's never shy to rotate players. He's never shy to make wholesale of changes, and they are also at least yielding results for him, so which is very, very impressive. I think he's got good relationship with the players. He's got a good relationship with those local teams in the United Rugby Championship. That's why you are seeing Springboks not 4 times champions of the world by fluke, but by hard work from the Vilsum, Dr. Rasi Erasmus.
Oh yes, it is going to be a tough one indeed. You touched on a very, very good point that you were surprised to see that at number 10, Rasi Erasmus made changes. Everyone was expecting Mani Lipok to walk into that number 10 position, considering that Andre Pollard was not available because he was playing in that Vodacom United Rugby Championship final that took center stage last night out in Ireland. So, and with Sasha Feinberg Mgomezulu injured, it was some kind of no-brainer that Umane Lipok will definitely start at fly half. But Rasi Erasmus, being Rasi Erasmus, he just Rasi Erasmus all of us and surprised us yet again with that number 10 fly half position. But in that way, on the other hand, Rasi Erasmus is ensuring that he's building depth in as far as the Springboks are concerned. And don't forget that the Rugby World Cup is just around the corner. It is next year. It will take the center stage down under out in Australia. So surely, with the injuries in the back of his mind, he is preparing that pool of players. And surely it is going to be interesting. I don't know. Do you have the starting lineup, the Springboks starting lineup?
Yes, I do have.
Can you give it to us, please?
At number 15, Apelele Fasi at the back.
We can special,
with the likes of Cheslin Colbert, number 14, and JC Kriel. I like that flank at the back.
Yes.
So we've got Andre Esterhuizen at number 12, Edwell van Merwe, and then there's Juan Horn, the one we spoke about at fly half, number 10. So it's a price one as well. Grant Williams, my favorite player, starting today, number 9. So that's why I've said it's a balanced squad for me. I'm very impressed. Jasper Visse as well at number 8. Peter Staff to Toit, our usual captain, Samtanda Kolisi, at his very own home time there. I think you'll want to do well there. And Franco Mustet at number 5 as our locker. And then we've got Really Norton at number 4. Kalusadi, another new face as well at number 3, and then Hugo Fenter at number 2, and also our very own prop, Oxenche. I think will be looking to score those tries for us as well. So on that note, it's a very good luck to the players and the coach Rassie Erasmus. I can tell you now today, they will get a hiding the very same Barbarians.
Oh yes, it is going to be interesting indeed. Still with that starting 11, starting 15 rather. There are some very, very interesting inclusion. Starting with that, let's continue a look at that number 10 fly half, Juan Horn. We'll remember that Juan Horn, his primary position is number 15 full back. For us Erasmus to play him at number 10 fly half, that shows he wants to see how much of a versatile player he is. Yes, he does play fly half, but the position that he specializes on is definitely at the full back. And we also know Damian Willems is also a versatile player. He does play at a number full back. That number 15
yes.
He also plays inside center. That is a number 12. He also equally plays a fly half. That is Damian Willems. Juan Horn, by the look of things, Rassie Erasmus wants to make him also a versatile player. Talking of versatile players, we also look at number 12 in this afternoon, starting 15, Andre Esterhuizen. Towards the end of last season, we saw how Rassie Erasmus utilized Andre Esterhuizen. You'll find that Andre Esterhuizen, he will start at inside center at number 12. Come towards end of the match, he moves him straight to the forward pack and get to play him at number 8 or even at number 6, and then when he tries and changes to the bomb squad. So Andre Esterhuizen is one of those players that Rassie Erasmus is using as some kind of hybrid players. So it is interesting indeed to see that Andre Esterhuizen is also in the starting lineup. I can tell you free of charge that just watch that match. He will not play one position. He will start at inside center, come towards end of the match, especially should the Springboks find it going a little bit tough. They will definitely move Andre Esterhuizen up front to the forwards at number 6 or at number 8. And another interesting inclusion is that of number 4, Riley Norton, the former Springboks under 20. Why do I say it is interesting? Riley Norton, not all the players, not all the people will get to do what this guy has done.
Yeah.
In less than 2 years back, around about 15 months back, this guy, Riley Norton, he represented South Africa in the Cricket World Cup. Riley Norton, he represented South Africa in Cricket World Cup, and he captained the side in cricket, the national team in cricket. In less than 15 months' time, the very same guy is making his debut this afternoon for the rugby's senior team. Boy, Riley Norton is something else.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if there's anyone who has done this where they represented South Africa in 2 different sporting codes.
Yeah.
He did it with ease for South Africa in Cricket World Cup. He didn't only play cricket, he played in the World Cup stages, under 19, captained the side. This afternoon, he's making his debut for the rugby's senior national team. Matsoho ezandleni bakwethu. Job well done indeed to Riley Norton. Not every Dick, Tom and Jabulani will get to achieve what this guy has achieved. And seeing that he'll be playing at number 4. Yep. Or that is Eben Etzebeth is position that simply means one thing and one thing only, that Rassie Erasmus is definitely building one for the future, considering that the boy is only 20 years old. That is Riley Norton. This time he will be representing South Africa in rugby, as it if he never represented South Africa at any given time. Let's quick go for the breather. When we return, we'll be talking netball. But before we go for a breather, let's try and get some sound bite on some lighter note, seeing that our technical team has come to our rescue. Let me try and see if I can get this sound bite right.
Us breathe this thing you call. Bafana, spit that bubble gum out and breathe this thing, you bad luck things. We're defending y'all against the whole of Africa, but y'all can't even defend the goal for 8 minutes. Breathe this thing, you bad luck things. Sitole, who are you playing for? Mexico or us? Breathe this thing, you colorblind. We waited 16 years for y'all to get more red cards than shots on target. Zwane, you went to the Soccer World Cup to wrestle. You slapping people and then acting like you don't know what you did. Breathe this thing, you confused thing. What face is this? Y'all had 11 fouls in one game. I only needed one to take all y'all's bad luck away. Y'all better catch a wake up. Otherwise, I'm going to send Banyana to replace y'all.
Thank you very much that is Afro Soul who gave us the song titled Papa Wu Te. Don't forget that you're still tuning in to Sports Geek with Spanel Ngobo, co-piloting it with none other than Motiva Peter, and the show that we bring to you. It is definitely Sports Geek with Nelo Ngobo, and the radio station that you're tuning into, it is none other than Nirvana World FM, your beat, your music, and as always, we do come to you live from our Linesia studios south of Johannesburg, Ekoli, Gauteng, Maboning, Mwanaka.
in the morning after Thursday night, Bafana lost 2-0 in the game with 9 and I turn and ask my dollar what's going on, and I say, hey, 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 Bafana. I say, Bruce, what's going on? And so in the morning after Thursday night, Bafana lost 2-0 in the game with 9 and I turn and ask my dollar what's going on, and I say, hey, 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 Bafana. I say, Bruce, what's going on?
Sad play to Bafana head coach Hugo Broos, asking him, hey Madala, what's going on? That is a sad play for you. Looking at the things on the lighter note, as depressed and stressed up as we may be because of Bafana not finally not getting on the winning ways. They lost their first game through the second one. Let's hope things will get better from here and beat Korea come Thursday morning. Let's hope sad play come next week. He will not be singing this song, asking Bafana head coach Hugo Broos, hey Broos, what's going on? Without any further ado, let's dive straight to netball. Telkom Netball League 2020-26. The curtain has eventually come down. Modiba, I believe the champions are crowned. Talk to us what went down in as far as the 2026 Telkom Netball League is concerned.
Quite true, because of which, speaking of the battle between Crinums as well as Golden Fireballs, and we expected Golden Fireballs as the defending champions to do absolutely better. But on the day, they kept being inconsistent. They had this element of inconsistency. This is where they couldn't pick up results. And then you check on the other side, the Crinums, they've played the entire round robin without even suffering a single defeat.
What a performance.
What a performance. What a season. Coach Mathamo Swatlesem, I think she deserved credit for me. So you look at in that final, they managed to play against the very same defending champions, that is Golden Fireballs, and they emerged victorious Free State Crinums by 46-32. So which is absolutely well, to show that what they were doing during the round robin, it wasn't by a fluke. They just did a clean sweep the entire season, and the congratulations are in order for them. So let's see if Golden Fireballs will be able to do better next season. And this is their fourth title, the Free State Crinums, that they are winning under Coach Matlamo Swatlesem. So Jaguars unlucky, they didn't have a good season, but when I looked into the final standings, it's Crinums number 2, Golden Fireballs Crinums number 1, Golden Fireballs number 2. Then we've got these things at number 3, the Jaguars at number 4, the Flames at number 5, Alus at number 6, and then Kingdom Stars at number 7. We also go to the Division 2.
Yes.
We've got the Tornadoes, who managed to win the Division 2 as well. Then at number 2, there's Kingdom Queens. Because of the Tornadoes in their last game, they played against Kingdom Queens and managed to win marginally, so 47-46 against the Kingdom Queens. So congratulations also are in order for the Tornadoes as well. So number 3, we've got Sonoblom, Biobabs at number 4, Chukudu at number 5, Diamonds at number 6, Sunbears at number 7, the Comets at number 8, and lastly we've got the Lilies at number 9. So both teams did absolutely well this season, but the Crinums were just as superb for me. So, and also the Tornadoes, they really deserved these titles as well.
Oh, what a clean sweep indeed by the girls from the Free State Bloemfontein, Hag Vrystaat. Look at their clean sweep, whitewash indeed. They're sitting with the 100% win record in the round robin. They won all their matches. Needless to say that even when it got to knockout stages, they definitely stood the test of time. That is the girls from the Free State. There's the Free State Crinums, like Modiba rightfully mentioned, that they are coached by none other than Martha Moswatla. Sam did a sterling job with her Free State girls. But surely for me, the turning point, yes, the knockout stages, the team they may choke and everything, but for me, the test of character in as far as Free State Craneums are concerned was when they beat Gauteng Jaguars in front of their home fans in their own backyard in the University of Pretoria. For me, that's when I thought it's official. Craneums, they will definitely take this Telkom Netball League down to the Free State.
Very true, and you check, they didn't even see what we've spoken about to put a compulse in rugby. They didn't behave like that. They
Choking.
Continued with that confidence without choking. Big match temperament to show that even if you are defending champions, Golden Fireballs, you are beatable, and they've just rushed them heavily. So for me, they really deserve the credit on that note.
Oh yes, a job well done indeed to Free State Craneums for lifting the 2026 Telkom Netball League. But the big talking point, it is definitely that 100% winning record that they set this season. For them, beating the home side, Jaguars, in front of their home crowd, there was something else. They didn't only beat them, they demolished them. They demolished them. The scoreboard, we're talking about more than 20 points at difference. If you ask me, that is a beating and a half. So surely, Jaguars, it is a no-brainer that they miss their former head coach in the formanship of Janie van Dijk, who is now the head coach of the national team. That is the Spar Proteas, whom they will be participating in the upcoming Commonwealth Games. So it is going to be interesting indeed to see how will Spar Proteas head coach, that is Janie van Dijk, will select his squad rather. And it was also interesting to see the veteran goal defender, jersey number 6 for the Free State Craneum, that is Carla Pretorius, turning up for her side here, a stellar of the tournament, and it was not surprising to see her voted a player of the series. Congratulations are in order indeed to Carla Pretorius for dishing out that stellar performance. So let's quickly go for a breather. When we return, we will be looking at our last segment in the form and shape of Formula One motor racing. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a new winner in as far as Formula One motor racing is concerned. Just stick around. We will tell you exactly who is that new winner, who hasn't tasted a victory for almost 2 years. Last season, just to give you an idea, he joined the new camp. He did not deliver for the whole year. He was such a disappointment for the whole year. Surprise, this time around, he finished with not only a podium finished, but rather as a champion. Ladies and gentlemen, just stay tuned. Let's quick go for a breather. We'll continue on the other side of this. Let's try and get some other light note and have some laughter in as far as the sports gig with Spanel Ngobo co-piloting it to the Modiba Peter is concerned. Let's see if we can get some laughter.
Hey, how everyone is getting so excited about the Soccer World Cup. What I know about soccer. So I said, okay, I'll watch the opening match. Oh, the way my heart is racing even faster than those people can run around the soccer pitch. My blood pressure to be scoring penalties. Yeah, till today, I'm telling you. Yeah, but that referee, he works for Pick n Pay, what? Because he was dishing out the red cards like Pick n Pay smart shopper points. I heard in Qatar, they only gave for the whole tournament in 2022, they gave 4 red cards. This fella gave 3 in the opening match, man. Yeah, and all the jokes and the memes about the fella who's got the first one, they calling him shithole. I said, no man, his name is shithole. Not nice to laugh about other people's names, eh? Yeah, but you think after they changed the South African Bafana colors from green to yellow, maybe they should make it red, eh? Yeah, because if we don't win the World Cup, at least we can say we got the most amount of red cards. Yeah, only appropriate. But at least Tyler, she made us proud singing the national anthem, so now she's looking too. Yeah, but me, I don't think I'm going to be watching any more of the matches or anything. Yeah, because my nerves are eliminated even before the knockout rounds. Yeah. Hey, how
Ever heard a
everyone is
baby
getting
bellow
so
at the
excited
top of its lungs in a public place, far from your best music track, right? For a more beautiful note, contact Nirvana Sounds for your studio and live recordings. We engineer sound to perfection according to your specifications. We ensure crisp and clear audio-video conversions and delight your function with sound, stage and lights for hire. Our quotes are pleasurable to the ear. Contact us now on 083 945 7664. Nirvana Sounds.
In a world
By Gospel
where compassion is needed, Ashraful Aid lent a hand to the Palestinian refugees. A source of warmth in the chill of winter, we supported children and families in Jordan. An indication to humanity's resilience and the power of unity. Embrace the spirit of giving because every bit counts. Together we can make a difference. Donate today.
The best music on the best radio show.
Thank you very much to Tonic the Tune and KZ featuring DDK and Abudi Itu. They gave us the song titled Zaza Zel. Time is definitely not on our side. It is 4 minutes before 1 o'clock. Before we get to our last segment of today's show, let's try and see if we cannot get some other lighter moment in as far as Bafana Bafana are concerned, in as far as the 2026 FIFA World Cup is concerned. Here is Said Play making a U-turn yet again.
Mokwena scored and Bafana drooms and she feels one kick is all it takes to make South Africa dream that we can go far. Next up South Korea, one kick is all it takes. Tips up, put it away. Our Pirates boys can play. Hugo, please win Thursday. Mokwena score.
That is a sad player for you, saying that one kick, that all it takes. Let's hope come Thursday morning, it will be another one kick that will take us to the last 32, which will be enough to see Bafana Bafana continue with their 2026 FIFA World Cup campaign and keep the South Africans happy. Let's hope I will not be experiencing any heart attacks as Bafana messes up our emotions and stuff. Only time will tell come Thursday morning as Bafana lock horns with Korea in their last game in as far as round robin is concerned. But let's quickly dive to the last segment. 2026 Formula One motor racing continues. I believe we are now on round 8, and finally someone got to be the winner. After 2 years, last season, he joined the new camp in the foremanship of Ferrari. And what a disappointment he was the whole of last year. This year, the signs have been showing a little bit. About number 2, and number 3, there, and then eventually in Spain last week. Things happened.
And the Barcelona Grand Prix, if one may put it in simple terms, we're talking about a driver here who's also topping all the drivers with 106 titles. His name is Lewis Hamilton. What a performance on the finally.
Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Yes.
And remember, Kimi Antonelli had 5 winning streaks, and then now his 5 winning streaks finally came to an end at the expense of Barcelona Grand Prix. So I think on the day he fought hard, and signs were there to say Lewis Hamilton is improving. Yes. I think he's learned from this past 2 years to say, hey, I've been struggling a lot, but this time around I need to come up and grab a win as a 106 win, because of going into this race. Barcelona Grand Prix, he was seated on 105. So on that note, it's well done to him. Unfortunately, Kimi Antonelli couldn't progress because of his car experienced the electrical shutdown. That is why we couldn't see him further. But on the positive light as well, Lando Norris, the defending champions, was on the podium, and it was so pleasing to see that finally he's getting to his senses as well, because I couldn't understand why a driver of his caliber is not appearing on the podium. So George Russell as well was also on the podium as well. And he also told our viewers that the bookmakers have picked him as the winner for this current year. Will it happen? Let's wait and see. Still early days, as we mentioned.
Come November, all will be revealed.
Come the first week of December, during after the one to call Abu Dhabi race had taken place. So then as well, this weekend we turn our attention to motorsport. In the motorsport, guess who are they going? The race is taking place from the team that we played midweek in the World Cup, that is in Czechia, MotoGP. This is the motorsport that is taking place. Will Marco Bezzecchi continue with his round of form? Will George Martin come to the picture? Francisco Banaya as well. Brad Binder, those are the drivers whom I'm expecting them to do better in this wonderful Czechia MotoGP. So it's all to play for this wonderful weekend. Let's see if they will be able to do well in the motorsport. So in the motor racing, obviously, the race will return to action come next weekend. It's all happening in the motorsport as well as in the F1 motor racing.
Oh yes, that's the way things are standing as far as Formula One and motor racing is concerned. So as a motorsport, but one definitely has to say congratulations are in order indeed to the legendary driver in as far as the motor racing is concerned, especially there is Sir Louis Hamilton to eventually get back to winning ways for his company. That is a Ferrari that is after a long time following that disastrous season that he had last season, but finally they held on and he persisted. Finally, it paid off. Then he got 2 winning ways for the first time after, like I said, almost 18 months towards that we were approaching towards 2 years. That's how long it took him to eventually cycle in and win something for Ferrari. So for a change, Ferrari, they've got something to smile about. Let's hope for Louis Hamilton's sake, it is just the beginning of the good things to come, and let's hope he will make Ferrari a big brand as what they used to be back in the days. Definitely go back and put them in the map where they belong. So congratulations are in order indeed to Sir Louis Hamilton. That's how we come to an end of our today's episode in as far as the Sports Geek is concerned. But before we do that, let's try and see if we cannot get another sound bite nyana. I'm not sure if I will get it right. In case I fail, I apologize in advance.
Just come back home, guys. Come back.
I didn't get it right. I just
Hey, Bafana. Just come back home, guys. Come back home. We play 9 cards, or we'll teach you how to play Tani. Hey, 2 red cards. The first 2 red cards in the World Cup. Hey. No. But at least Tyler's performance was better than the team's performance.
You just have to laugh, South Africans. No matter how tough the situation that we might be facing as a country, they'll always look for that lighter moment in as far as any difficult situation that we might be facing. So that helps us a lot to go through whatever our challenges we might be facing as a country. We are counting on our comedians to come up with that lighter and material of things. Look at the things on the lighter note that keeps us smiling, and then manage, in so doing, manage our health conditions, to manage our blood pressure away, to everything, because they always say laughter keeps the doctor away. So the more you laugh, the more you look for something that will make you healthy and happy and excited, the more you your health condition will be better. In so doing, you will manage to keep the doctor away. So try to keep your mood in a happy mood as much as you possibly can. Laugh as much as you possibly can. That's how we come to an end of our today's show and this afternoon, the 20th of June 2026. Come Thursday next week. Let's hope Bafana that it will be the 25th of June. Bafana they will make South Africa proud by getting to the knockout stages for the first time in as far as World Cup is concerned.
Very true. And let me come back home a little bit. Betway Premiership is really going in action there. Mangoba Mngiti has left Namontville Golden Arrows, and then
mark my words, he will resurface go Bafana.
I'm sensing that was at some point they said Polokwane City, because of Polokwane City also are in the verge of parting ways with coach Putume Hafe, and then also Kaizer Chiefs has announced Fernando da Cruz as their new head coach, assisted by Mohamed Abbas. So let's see if they will be able to do better, because of Cedric Kaze has joined Sekhukhune United, and let's see if the very same Khalil Ben Youssef will be able to do well at Durban City. So those are some of the movements that are taking place, and Mamelodi Sundowns have announced the signing of they call him Antonio van Vick, the former Stellenbosch, and also Kaizer Chiefs announced defender Thabo Malaisane as their new defender following the departure of Aiden McCarthy, who's gone abroad at Azerbaijan as well. So Chupa United as well announced Brian Okoth, the former Polokwane City goalkeeper, as their new goalkeeper, which means he will be working hand in hand with Dumisani Msibi, the goalkeeper who used to work with Ronan Williams back at SuperSport United. And then Amazulu have announced the signing of Hape Moralo, and also at Durban City there, Jocelyn Kamatuka has parted ways with Durban City. And on the other side, let's go to KZN, Milford FC under coach Kanti Popoma, they will be campaigning in the Betway Premiership following Maukesi having been relegated officially. So I don't know what will happen to the future of Coach Alan Fries. And then Elvis Chipesasa was really in tears. Those are the news making headlines as far as the Betway Premiership. And with all being said, the name still remains Mudiba Johannes Peter, and it's a very good afternoon until we meet again next weekend.
Tell me again, who is the Kaizer Chiefs goalkeeper coach?
Goalkeeper coach hasn't been confirmed.
It's not been confirmed.
It's only the head coach, which is Fernando da Cruz, assisted by Mohamed Abbas. At first, I thought Mangoba Mngiti was going to turn his U-turn to Naturena, but it's not the case so far. But hopefully, rumors has been said that maybe Tumelo Nkuni might be the new goalkeeper coach, because remember, they parted ways with Elias Mzugi, who came with Nasreddin Nabi, as well as Cedric Kaze alongside Kalin Ben Youssef. So let's see if those movements will be able to happen. And Kaizer Chiefs currently, they will be jetting off to Germany to prepare for the new season, as we know that Orlando Pirates also will be jetting off to Spain. So a lot of things are really happening, but even when we come back next week, we'll also let the listeners what is really going on as far as Betway Premiership, despite the presence of a World Cup which is in our midst.
Oh yes, so that's how we come to an end to our today's show. Let's do this once again. Come next week, Saturday, same time, same place here on Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music. Till then, it is bye-bye.
Good afternoon.